Wow. I remember it just like it was yesterday. The stage was dark, very similar to this one. The lights, they were pointed directly at me. And then I heard a voice in the distance say, "You may begin." Hello, my name is Kristin Joy Greer, and I will perform 2 monologues for you today. Mask on. You see, that day was the day that I auditioned to graduate schools across America with my heart set on my top choice, Yale University. All my preparation led up to this one moment. Searching for my name on the list, only to find out I didn't make the cut for the final round. My world came crashing down as Yale University School of Drama hadn't selected me. You see, I didn't see that moment as just being rejected by Yale. I felt as if God rejected me. What am I to do? God, I thought this was your plan for me. I hadn't felt this let down since that day when my innocence as a little girl was stolen from me. I heard the sermons at church, right? God has a plan for you, and it's good. God has a plan for me. This is the plan that God has for me. This plan is filled with shame, embarrassment, guilt, and rejection. No. This cannot be the plan that God has for me. What did I do to deserve this? The only thing I can do now is just cover all of this up and act like it never happened. I'm determined to keep that rejection and abuse hidden. I opened a Christian performing arts company, and it was called AIM, Anointed in Movement. I began to focus on trying to build a career as a professional actress while helping my parents back in Chicago. It was then that I realized that I felt like my dreams were just dwindling. I tried to remain hopeful, so I began to substitute teach because I needed money. And I used my classroom as an audience, just bringing the arts into learning. Soon I was promoted into a full-time teacher with no teaching experience and just thankful for stability that I would be able to just have income to flourish. Well, I never saw that as a permanent experience. I only saw that as temporary. I remember that day that I left that classroom, distraught, running into the hallway with tears in my eyes. I cried out to God that day and I said, God, this was not the plan. This is not the plan. You see, I was surrounded by so many challenges. Disrespectful kids, parents that refused to be on my page, and bitter colleagues who just couldn't appreciate the fact that I was just doing a temporary work. It was that day that my tears and my heart aligned. And I heard God say, I need you to do my will. I said, Lord, why? Why do you have to have me here? It didn't take me long for me to realize that I was in the midst of a turning point decision. I said, Lord, if this is your will for me, I'll do it. I'll do your will. Now, if you're like me and you've ever said that before, you had no idea what you're saying. I'll do your will. Because I'm talking about God, the creator of the universe. Our ways are not his ways, but that day, something changed. Because I said, God, I wanted to do your will. It shifted my focus from the applause and the accolades of the stage to, God, you get the glory out of my life. That day, I surrendered everything. I surrendered my understanding of who God is to seeking him for his ways. I allowed God into the deep and the dark places that I had forgotten about. I surrendered everything. I moved away from my family. I left the school where I obtained 2 master's degrees in education only in 3 years, and I was awarded the Teacher of the Year. And finally, God, I left that performing arts company. That was the hardest decision because that was where my identity lied. For months, I was unemployed. I was in transition. I was even homeless with no bed of my own, willingly following God into whatever his plans for my life would be. Although my bank account was empty and I was away from everything that I once felt was familiar, I learned to trust God. God was calling me to another path. He was calling me to transform lives in education. I remember sending out 150 resumes and applications to become a school administrator, and I received 150 no's. As the school year was beginning, I had no job. I found myself with $1 to my name, yet I trusted God in where he was leading me. I asked someone one day if they knew of any positions, and the next day, I interviewed to become an assistant principal. 2 weeks later, I received a position and learned how to serve students in an alternative school where the students were deemed as dropouts and rejected by society. 4 years later, here I am standing before you as the principal of AIM High School. A school that supports the disenfranchised, homeless, abandoned, rejected youth of Brooklyn. Whew, Jesus. If you had told me when I was 18 years old that I would be here today telling you this story and the principal of a high school in New York City, I would have laughed and ran away from it. But praise be to God who took the head in the hand. Thank you, God. He took that hand of that little girl that was abused and rejected and gave me a new name, allowing everything I went through to help others and to save and to serve that next generation. Thank you, God. And through the abuse, the rejection, and the hardship, God was with me the whole time. My plan was about me. His plan was for people. God's plan is always better. This is my story.